Hey there, and welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari.
I'm Quincy Carr.
I'm Cheryl Nelson. How's it going today, guys?
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, y'all are my neighbors right here.
Yes,
So it's
our little
good.
Brady Bunch boxes.
Yes. And that's what we're doing today. We're talking a lot about neighbors and getting to know your neighbors. I have to say, I'm very fortunate where I live. We all know each other on the block, and we'll get together and we'll have drinks and watch the sunset. And it's a really nice community. Is that unusual, do you think?
Well, yeah, I only get to know my neighbors when they're being a little, boisterous, especially if they have parties and I'm not invited to them. So we need to work on that. We have room to grow.
Yeah, and as far as my neighbors are concerned, we see each other when we leave to go to work and come back home. That's about it.
That's the extent of the relationship.
I need to be better. Okay.
Oh.
I need to be better. But it is fun when you have neighbors that you can count on, and that obviously happens when you get a chance to meet your neighbors. And it's pretty cool because all this talk about neighbors and stuff is really exciting because Cox has on this show today, Cox has a special project to help neighbors get to know each other, and you have to stick around to see it.
Yes, and we're also going to get to visit with helping out some of our senior citizens. You guys know I love when we do that. And also get to talk to a property manager who's going to give us an update on some short-term rental laws.
But first, we will learn all about a new musical art form, new to some of us anyway. Find out what that is next. Welcome back to Main Street Living. Music is something that I think we all love. It's a universal language that can bring people together no matter where they are from or what their backgrounds might be.
Absolutely. And music also helps define our unique cultures. And you can learn a lot about a place and its people by listening to its music. Dr. Jeff Nevin is here to talk about one very distinctive genre of music, mariachi. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for making some time for us.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
So, of course, some people have come into contact with the mariachi, perhaps at a Mexican restaurant when they're serenading those unsuspecting patrons. But we know there's a lot more to it than that. So how would you describe what mariachi is?
So mariachi, actually, I teach a class in mariachi history, so I hope you have at least 3 or 4 hours for me to explain the whole thing to you. But mariachi music is a folk music that grew out of Western Mexico and has roots actually going back to the Spanish Renaissance, to African music, and to indigenous Mexican music when they all came together about 500 years ago. They evolved over time, and nobody knows exactly when it came about, but some of those folk musicians moved to Mexico City in the early 20th century, began to record, began to appear in movies, and the professional composers, professional singers, the actors who are also singers began to appear in movies with mariachis behind them. So they dressed the mariachis up in fancy clothes and they made bigger groups and they expanded the repertoire. So the modern mariachi that we know is really only about 70 or 80 years old, but the roots absolutely go back 500 years or more. So in that sense, it's very similar to jazz music that has roots that go way, way, way back. But really the first jazz music was composed in the early 20th century, and mariachi is very much like that.
Dr. Jeff, you were talking about the history. Can you give us a little bit more history about the mariachi?
I told you I got hours. So I can,
careful what you ask for, you.
But, so it is a combination of the, as I said, the indigenous Mexican music. There are a lot of African rhythms that are present in the traditional mariachi music. That's something that's actually stated but not really appreciated. I just wrote an article last year focusing on the connection between the sones, which is a specific type of traditional dance that is present all over Latin America, but it's very, very popular in the pueblos, in the small town in Mexico where they play sones, and the rhythms that they have in the sones are very closely related to some African drumming. And then, of course, the Spanish Renaissance music. One thing that was very interesting to me when I started studying about this, in this continent, in the Americas, they almost had no musical instruments that use strings. Okay, so they had drums, and they had, you've seen like a conch shell that you play, and you can play. They have different kinds of flutes that are shaped like little animals or different things. They had a lot of different musical instruments that they used, but none of them had strings. So anytime you see like a Mexican guy playing a guitar, or you see somebody playing a harp, or you see somebody playing a violin, those are instruments that were very popular in Europe in the Renaissance. So you see the Renaissance paintings where you see people sitting around with these funny instruments. Well, some of those instruments are exactly what we're playing in the mariachi. And then, so again, that's the history. The modern mariachi really took place in Mexico City, where professional composers, there's a movie and a famous singer is going to sing, we're going to have a mariachi. I'm going to compose a brand new song today that they're going to be performing in the movie next week. So the musicians had to learn to read. They had to learn how to play different kinds of songs. They were playing brand new repertoire. Now you ask somebody, hey, what's your favorite mariachi song? People start saying there's hundreds of songs that people know, but most of those songs were composed since the 1940s.
Wow. So cool. So obviously we know that you teach at Southwestern College, and something very cool has happened there because they began offering the world's first college degree in mariachi music in 2004. Why is it so important to kind of separate mariachi from the other musical traditions?
Well, that's an interesting question. Part of, so I was invited by the president of the college at that time was Serafin Sassueta, and the president of Sweetwater Union High School District, which is the district that leads into Southwestern College, named Bob Griego. And they had an idea to use mariachi music in schools to help bring the kids into the school, to bring their families into the school, and to make the schools better reflect the communities that they have. I talked to Dr. Sassueta. He said, we want to put mariachi in my school. He said, I went to Tucson and I saw this big conference and all these kids. I want to have a degree in mariachi music at my school, just like they have in all of those other schools. And I said, no, there's no such thing as a degree in mariachi music anywhere in the world, much less in Mexico, because in Mexico is where the music comes from. But it really was something that's passed down through generations, and you learn it from your uncle, or you learn it from people get together and learn it. They didn't teach it in schools. Right now in the United States, many people, really over the last 30 years, have been putting more mariachi in schools all around the United States. So we need teachers, which means that we need people with mariachi experience and specific academic credentials to be able to be a teacher in public schools. So we're actually trying to bring them together. It's not so much, why are we separating it from the other music? No, we're trying to bring mariachi in to the academic field so that mariachi teachers are also trained professional musicians in that sense.
Yeah, and that makes absolute sense. I mean, it's clear that the program is very popular. Now, coming up in a few days, you're going to be holding the Mariachi Summit. So what is planned for that event?
We bring together the most important mariachi musicians from all over the world, and we come here, we teach the kids how to play, we teach them technique, we teach them how to read, we teach them new songs, so repertoire, not brand new songs, but traditional repertoire, so that they're learning from this tradition. Then the Mariachi Scholarship Foundation, that's I'm the president of the foundation, we raise money through this summit and then give that money out in college scholarships to the mariachi students when they graduate.
Well, we know also another way that people can find out about it is the very special concert on July 16th at San Diego's downtown Civic Theater. What's so exciting about this event, and how can viewers find more information about this and the program?
Okay, so I mentioned the Mariachi Scholarship Foundation. This is our biggest fundraiser that we have, is a huge concert. It's a gala concert that we have. And again, in the past, we've brought all the biggest mariachis, the most famous mariachis. This year, we actually received a donation from a good friend of ours named Ed Marsh, who's a mariachi lover and has been collecting things his whole life. And then he donated his collection to us. And we're debuting that at the summit in a couple of weeks. And then it occurred to me, I was reaching out to people. I said, well, we need something from these famous singers, or we need something from these mariachis. And so I've been talking to the family members of the people who were the famous stars back in the 1940s and 1950s. And then I realized a lot of them sing too. So I said, why don't we invite them to be on the concert? So we have Lupita Infante, who's Pedro Infante's granddaughter. And Pedro Infante is one of the biggest movie stars, if you're not aware. It's like John Wayne or Frank Sinatra. Like these names are just iconic, and people still love them today, even though they have been around for a while. Rafael Jorge Negrete is Jorge Negrete's grandson. We have Gabriel Solis, who's Javier Solis' son. We have Miguel Aceves Mejia, who has the same name as his dad. We've got Jose Alfredo Jimenez Medel, who is Jose Alfredo Jimenez's son. So it's amazing, and they're each going to come and participate in this. So the concert's going to be it's a celebration of this whole history by bringing in, you know, the legacy, the heirs of the legacy of the most famous people. And trust me, if you don't know those names, it's like I just named like you know, people are like, oh my God, you have him. And for the museum, I have Jorge Negreste's traje, one of his suits, right back here in my house. My friend just brought Javier Solis's sombrero that he has, and we have pictures like he's there and he's holding this hat, and that's the hat that we have. So his son, when he sings, is going to be wearing his dad's hat on that concert. So it's going to be a really great thing, and for a very good cause, as I just said.
Perfect.
Well,
perfect.
Dr. Nevin, we can see how passionate you are about this, and we just thank you so much for joining us, of course. And so cool, a mariachi major. Those are the kids that's the party I want to go to, the mariachi major party for sure.
All right. Well, after the concert, I told you we're having a party at my house after the concert, so you're invited.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, so much information to learn that I've learned now. I mean, I feel like I've gotten a chance to know something that I didn't know before, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, it's time to get to know our neighbors. That's so tough for me. Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, Cheryl, right here on Main Street Living. Of course, we all are about building community, but studies show that 2/3 of Americans, that's 66%, say their neighbors are either strangers or acquaintances at best.
Oh, so guys, remember when we were all kids and somebody rang the doorbell and it was exciting to see who it was?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. But now, and I'm afraid I do this too, most of us hide or try to be quiet so that whoever's out there will go away.
Well, no more, Cheryl, because Cox is a part of the communities they serve, and so they decided to do something to connect their neighbors. With the help of a TV crew, they have taken 3 neighborhood families and turned them into TV families, creating 1980s-style sitcom intros for each.
Oh, my favorite. This sounds so awesome. Let's take a look behind the scenes at how Cox helped bring these families together.
How well do you know your neighbors?
It's been a challenge getting to know our neighbors.
We kind of all keep to ourselves.
You don't really have a chance to introduce yourself or get to know them.
You know, we see people walk past our house, we don't know their names.
We're going to show you some pictures of sitcom families.
Ah, that's an easy one.
They were great. I watched it all the time growing up.
Let me have you look at this first photo. Do you know who this family is?
No.
You got us on this one.
So do you know who this is?
I have no idea.
No idea.
They live down the street.
Oh, wow.
These are neighbors.
It'd be nice to know them.
Coming up. Yep.
Take a look. What do you think?
Great.
And action. Big smiles. Beaming smiles. Now let's all wave. Big smiles, wave.
It's been a really beautiful experience. New people in our lives, new friendships.
It's been wonderful meeting the neighbors, and just to come together and connect has been amazing.
I think that there's going to be a lot more of this.
Yes.
I hope there's a lot more of it.
Yes.
Every May, come on!
Wow. Now, I don't know if you ladies remember, but of course, you know, I had a problem meeting all of my neighbors, right? And, you know, thought it was kind of cool to see other people are enjoying meeting each other.
Yeah, you should try that, Q.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, either way, how cool is that Cox was able to make those introductions and turn these neighbors who were strangers into friends, of course.
All right. So speaking of that, Quincy, you talked about it a little bit. Danielle, I'm curious. Do you guys know your neighbors?
When I moved in, I left Post-its on my upstairs and downstairs neighbor and introduced myself, and I'm still waiting on a text back. So maybe I need to switch to face-to-face. But
No, they
either
didn't
way,
respond? How sad.
no, and at least they haven't texted me to complain like about noise or anything like that. Not that I'm particularly noisy, but regardless, I think I need to enlist a TV crew. So I'm excited to see these 80s style intros. Let's meet the neighbors.
This is the place where we live together.
Every day that passes just gets better and better.
The good days and bad days we will go through.
I know we can make it, 'cause I'll make it with you.
It takes a family to understand that we all need a helping hand. No matter the weather,
we can do it together. Whatever the world
demands, we're just right next door.
There you go. So cute. And a 3, 2, 1. Whoop. Sorry.
Quincy, Danielle, this reminds me of the open for Full House. I love it. I want to do this for my family now.
I know. I thought someone was going to say, how rude.
Yes.
I'd say, well, go ahead and do it, Cheryl, because it looks like Cox is doing a bunch of cool things. Now, the almond trouts, they look pretty fun. They had a lot of fun as a family, don't you think? Now, let's meet their neighbors, the Rumps.
Meet the Rumps. Rich likes to swing a hammer. Mystique likes to soak up the sun. Milan wants to be a dancer. Now they're here to have some fun. Just moved in from Chicago, and they really don't miss the cold. They'll have you over tomorrow, 'cause in the Rump household, they treat you like one of the family.
One hand, Milan. Big smile. Camera. Oh. That's great. I'm glad that we're capturing that.
Quincy, Cheryl, you know I got a kick out of her getting rid of those winter coats that they no longer needed. So much fun.
I know, right? Oh, gosh. To live in California, Santa Barbara, I'd be all about that, too.
Yeah, your world would be a better place. But we all know that your world can be a better place wherever you are, as long as you stay connected. So why not start in your own neighborhood?
Oh, I think that's such a great idea. In fact, stay right there, because when we come back, we will have a chance to meet the third family in Cox's Meet the Neighbors project, the Pollocks. Stay with us. Welcome back to Main Street Living. We are talking all about neighbors today. How well do you guys know your neighbors? And how important is it to feel connected in your community? Sometimes all it takes to get started is just a simple introduction.
That's right. Cheryl, in our last segment, you met two families who live blocks away from each other in Santa Barbara, California, but had never met until Cox introduced them through the Meet the Neighbors project.
Yeah, and Ashley Snyder, who hosts our Sister Your View show, Living 757 in Virginia, she had a chance to talk with the third family, the Pollocks. Let's listen in.
It's crazy that most Americans don't know their neighbors. And in fact, they can easily identify TV families more so than the people who live next door. The Pollocks were part of that majority until Cox stepped in, made them an 80s style sitcom intro, and helped introduce them to their neighbors. Let's meet the Pollocks. Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Now, you guys have lived in Santa Barbara for a pretty long time, but have you always lived in the same neighborhood?
We have not. We just moved here a little under a year ago, so the neighborhood is new to us.
Got it. Okay, so now it makes sense why you didn't really know your neighbors. And then Cox reaches out to you. They have this project in mind. How did you feel about it?
I thought it was really fun. Yeah, me too.
We were excited to do it. Actually, we don't know many of our neighbors. After the pandemic, we know less of our neighbors, know fewer neighbors. So it was really cool. Cool way to very unique way to meet some neighbors. So we enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And I can attest that knowing your neighbors makes life a lot easier and a lot more fun. Now, have you seen your sitcom intro?
We have.
We did.
Yes.
And what did you think about it?
We loved it.
Yes.
It was fun and quirky, and yeah, it was really neat to watch it.
Well, for anyone watching who has not seen it yet, let's meet the Pollocks.
Life is full of many ups and downs, but friendly faces are all around. No, we've never met before. Come make a friend at the house next door. Come say hi. It's not so hard to do. The days are long, but the years are short. Let's make the most of what we've got. So get on up and come out in this city. Come meet our family.
Keep looking at the camera, Dylan. Looking at the camera. Let's put them in. That's really great. Let's cut.
Okay, so for where I'm sitting, that looked like a ton of fun. How was the experience for you all filming that?
It was awesome. It was every person we worked with was so cool. They made us so comfortable. Obviously, we're not actors, so we've never had any experience in front of a camera, and they made it a lot of fun for us. What did you guys think?
I think it was really fun. Like having your own part in it, and the snacks were super fun and good. I liked having my own part in it, playing basketball.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Actually, we all enjoyed it. It was once in a lifetime kind of thing for the boys, Ani and I, non-TV people having a good time with being on TV for a minute. So it was really fun. And as Ani said, everyone was so good to us. It was such a cool experience. And to meet a couple of real cool families in town is the bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely meeting friends that way is really cool, but it's also priceless. Like friendships are something that a lot of people don't come by very easily these days, especially, during and after a pandemic.
Yeah.
So you guys got the takeaway of a really cool experience, and you also got to actually meet the neighbors. How was that?
Oh, that was the best part. I mean, just really nice families. I think we ended up having a lot in common. And it's probably, the way Pastor and I grew up, knowing our neighbors and not knowing our neighbors always felt, that disconnection to the people around you. I think always kind of bothered us. So it was really neat to be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree with me too. We've all got kids the same age. Everyone got along so well. It's a shame we all live so close, but we haven't met. So again, it was a really neat way to make an introduction and to meet a couple really neat families.
How important is it to you to feel connected to your neighbors in your neighborhood?
Very important. Yeah, I think people that kind of look out for you, you can look out for them. I think just having that sense of community, I think is huge. I think it's everything. And it's probably something we were missing more than we realized.
Yeah, I think it's super important to us. And I think even more so now after the last couple of years where people really kept to themselves. It's nice to have that connection back. It was very missed.
I agree. It was missed over here too, so I definitely understand. Well, thank you all for joining us. It was so nice to meet you guys.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
I remember hanging out with all of our neighbors when I was younger, and I live in a fabulous neighborhood now, so I really know intimately and personally how important connections are. So get out there and meet your neighbors.
Wow, ladies, I don't know if you realize this, but those children, they got a chance to experience the best part of any TV shoot. the craft services, the food. I was like a kid when I had it the first time too.
Yes. And I love how the kid's like, the acting was fun, but really the snacks are where it was at, because we were all thinking it.
They were so adorable. And I gotta say, guys, whoever came up with this idea at Cox is a genius. This is something we should all be doing across the country, getting to know our neighbors. So kudos to them.
Yes, and you don't need an 80s sitcom, but it helps. It helps to have the intro. Absolutely. Don't go anywhere, because coming up next, what exactly does a property manager do? We're going to find out.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, before the break, we were talking about neighborhoods and meeting neighbors. And Cheryl, Danielle, we all kind of know that real estate is a great investment, especially if you're able to purchase a rental property, right? But managing that rental property can be confusing and a lot of work, right, Cheryl?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it can be. And our next guest is here to help us figure out when we might want to enlist the help of a professional and call in a property manager. So let's welcome to the show Al Pusiri from Harland Property Management. Thanks for joining us today on Main Street Living.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So we've all heard of property managers, but we probably don't really understand what exactly they do. So let's talk about some of the responsibilities.
Sure. At Harland Property Management, we're responsible for everything relating to the success of a rental property for the owner. It requires knowledge of market pricing, advertising, accounting, home repairs and maintenance, landlord-tenant laws, a lot of that, insurance, and even more. It's a very multidisciplinary business.
Well, I appreciate that you're letting us get a peek into your work today. I know we have a little peephole going on, getting to look at the real
work. Definitely. It's always, it's a busy work environment for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the work, do property managers work for the property owners or the tenants?
The property manager works for the owner as an agent and is required to be licensed by the state of California. We always want tenants to have a good rental experience, but have a duty under the real estate laws to represent the interest of the owner. That's actually, it's definitely baked into the whole thing.
Okay, let's talk about short-term rentals a little bit, because I know across the country, the laws for short-term rentals, they're changing, they're becoming more restrictive. So what advice do you have for property owners who may not be able to continue renting in the short-term market?
I would recommend that they plan ahead. Vacation rental owners who need to switch have to decide when to stop taking short-term rental bookings. Setting an exit date that allows them to maximize their potential as a long-term rental will be an important decision.
Now, what kind of services specifically can you offer to property managers who maybe want or need to switch over to those long-term rentals?
At Harland Property Management, we offer full service management for rental properties. It includes marketing, showing, writing the lease, collecting the rent, taking care of the maintenance issues, tax documents, more, and even more. We position owners for success with their rental property with a minimum of hassle for them.
So when you say taking care of maintenance issues, what types of things do you take care of? So does somebody just call and say, hey, I think my AC went out, schedule an appointment? Do you handle all of the logistics of that?
Yes, definitely. We will gather bids, review the bids with the owner, in like a situation with an air conditioning unit. It requires that we know quite a bit about that business as well as, just as well as our own. We have to be able to manage them and make sure that what they are offering to the owner is the right solution, and be able to give recommendations.
So with some of these new laws coming out, are there upsides to either the owners or the renters in this situation?
I think the upside for everyone is that there's still a strong need for rental property in San Diego. The market's going to absorb the vacation rentals that switch over to long-term rentals. It'll give tenants new options, And owners who make that switch will still have a valuable rental property in a great location.
So are you saying overall, would you recommend somebody who is renting a property to just hand it off to someone like you, the property manager? Makes it so much easier. Is it worth the investment?
Definitely. When you tend to see that, we keep ourselves very closely connected to marketing and rates. So we set rates that are closer to market than what a lot of owners would do themselves. And owners can also kind of fall into certain pitfalls with insurance, leasing forms, especially during the COVID pandemic, changes to the laws. Those things we're getting updates from attorneys, as they happen.
Mm. That's so important. And I know, like, I have an aunt who has a rental property and was just telling me about how they were renting so much lower than all the other people in the area, and they had no idea. So that's a huge asset, obviously, that you guys can add to this whole process. For our viewers, though, how can they find more information about the services that you offer?
Sure. You can find us online at harlanpropertymanagement.com or call us at 858-367-0343, and we'd be happy to help.
Awesome. And I've got one more quick question before we go. Regarding the laws, how are we supposed to stay up on the changing laws and knowing that? Or how do you guys do it?
Actually, we have local attorneys who have been in the business for a long time in terms of handling landlord-tenant. We also know there's multiple jurisdictions, the state, sometimes the counties involved, the cities. And so basically you have to, especially during COVID, we had to fish through their websites, their emergency orders. It was actually a very hectic time.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to go through there, but thank you once again. We appreciate you joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, lots to manage there. That's why it's good to have someone else to manage it for you. But
for sure.
Don't go anywhere, because coming up, we're going to talk about how we can provide a little bit of extra help to our senior citizens. Hey there, welcome back into Main Street Living. Now, Cheryl Quincy, I hate to even bring this up because we're all living through it, but between the pandemic, inflation, just the high cost of living right now, it's getting harder and harder to make ends meet.
Well, Danielle, organizations all across the country are working to help provide people with the basics, and food banks have actually become an invaluable resource to that too.
That's right. And we're going to focus today on the San Diego Food Bank because it's working to take care of all of its neighbors like so many others across the country. But take a look at this special program they have for seniors who need a little extra help.
Today we're here at one of our senior food program distribution sites in Chula Vista, where we're going to be serving over 450 seniors at this one location. The San Diego Food Bank has been around since 1977. We are currently serving over 500,000 people every single month. We were serving 350,000 people throughout all of San Diego County just before the pandemic, so the need has definitely increased. Last year alone, the San Diego Food Bank distributed 60 million pounds of food. That is up significantly, over 60% prior to the pandemic. These numbers are record high numbers that we have seen in the history of the food bank. We anticipate that those numbers are going to continue to rise. And so we are here and wanting to make sure that families know where they can access food, and that folks who want to contribute know how to donate to the food bank to continue to support those 500,000 families every single month. Through this program, we actually distribute food at over 70 different locations throughout San Diego County, ranging from San Isidro all the way up to Fallbrook. And so we really try to make it very easy for seniors who are 60 years and older to enroll in this program and get free food every single month.
I've been coming here for the last 3 years. I'm a low-income person. I'm what they call working poverty. And I just thought, well, maybe I can apply for that. Maybe I can benefit from this. and I thought, well, see if I qualify. And I registered and I did. So this is a great supplement for us. I mean, this helps immensely.
We make it very easy to come on over, enroll in the program, and once you're enrolled in the program, you come through and you get a 35-pound box of food to take home to you and your family.
We get a little bit of fresh fruit, and we get non-perishable, and you can store it, and I tell you, by the end of the month, it's all gone, and by that time, it's ready for us to come up here again, and it's a wonderful program.
Our donations come from all over the place. We have very strong relationships with Vons and Albertsons, for example, but we also have a lot of local partners who distribute fresh produce, folks that also do their own food drives to help support the food bank. And so there are many, many ways to give, and a lot of those partners are here locally.
The staff here is wonderful. When I come up here, everyone says good morning to me. They make me feel well. I don't feel at all like embarrassed at all. They welcome me, and it's just they're willing to help. I feel the volunteers here, staff, care very much.
Oh, guys, it's such a great program. All those non-perishable foods and the grapes. Who doesn't love grapes, right? And you can find out more information about this senior food program or any of the programs available from the San Diego Food Bank on their website, sandiegofoodbank.org, or by calling 866-350-FOOD.
Yes. Well, everybody stay safe out there. I know it is tough times right now, and we probably all could use a drink. So that's what we're going to talk about next.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy, it's summertime, and that means it's time to get together with family and friends for barbecues, picnics, and maybe some time by the pool or even at the beach. And often these gatherings can include some adult beverages.
Yeah, see, that's your speed, Cheryl, the adult beverages. But Cheryl, does that drink necessarily derail our health and fitness goals? That's the question.
It can, and it often does. But Jim White has some tips to make that afternoon beer or a night out on the town a little easier on our bodies.
Hi, I'm Jim White, registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. We all can appreciate going out with our friends and drinking socially. However, alcohol can wreak havoc in our diet. Follow my 5 healthy drinking tips so you can go out and have fun with your friends while staying on your diet. Have a glass of water with every serving of alcohol. Alcohol can be a major dehydrator in the body. So by having a glass of water with every serving of alcohol, you're going to combat those dehydration effects. Choose a low-calorie instead of a high-calorie mixer. Instead of a rum and coke, try a gin and diet tonic. By choosing a low-calorie mixer, you're less likely to have all the sugar that's involved with high-calorie mixers and more likely to maintain your body weight. Know your serving size of alcohol. The serving size of a glass of liquor is 1.5 ounces, for a glass of wine is 5 ounces, and for one beer is 12 ounces. By knowing your serving size of alcohol, you're less likely to overdrink, consuming unwanted calories. Eat food before you drink alcohol. By eating food, it slows down the absorption of alcohol in the small intestine, which allows you to pace yourself. Choose clear alcohols over dark alcohols. Clear drinks have less calories and less of a hangover effect over dark drinks. Try these tips the next time you go out with your friends and practice healthier drinking. For more fitness and nutrition tips, visit jimwhitefit.com.
Okay, guys, I learned something. I did not know that clear liquors have less calories than the darker ones. So it's a good thing I like vodka.
Yeah, see, I do these cruise ships, and I don't ever drink till I go on the cruise ship. So I'm still new to the game.
Oh, we gotta go out.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan actually of the dark liquor, so I'm just gonna have to get my calories up. That's just the way it's gonna be. For more, you can go to jimwhitefit.com. Check it out.
All right, make sure you do that. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. We're back with more Main Street Living after this.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. Cheryl, Quincy, at this point, I hope we all had a really happy and safe 4th of July and another great show.
Absolutely. We enjoyed getting some new knowledge throughout the whole show. But if you missed that or any of our other shows, just always go to our Cox Contour app.
Definitely. And you can always catch brand new episodes of Main Street Living right here, 9 p.m. Mondays local time. So make sure you join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.